Carmel, tell us a little bit about the actual story. What inspired you to actually make this film float like a butterfly?
I'd usually set out when I'm making a piece of work, whether it's theatre or film or writing something for television. I try to think, what's the story we most need to tell right now in the world I live in? What can I find that will be of service to humanity and actually entertain people and bring people joy and consolation? And while I was wondering about that character of Frances, came to me in a very vivid, clear, wholly formed way. Mm-hmm. So she had a story to tell, and she let me know she wanted me to tell it. Mm-hmm. And on screen, she's a person of very few words, but she used as many words as she needed to tell me her story and to make sure I told it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, this film is, as they say, it's a reversal of Billy Elliot, and but you also commented with one of with the interview here at TIFF that masculinity should not be the norm. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, it's an honour to be compared to Billy Elliot because it's a fantastic film. I mean, the amount of humanity, compassion, real maturity, I think, about human nature. So I love the comparison. And Billy Elliot's very much about how class and gender expectations come together to try and repress someone's potential, mm-hmm. and to divide two people who love each other, separate them from each other. And that's very much what our film is about too, Hazel, isn't it? So there's a huge amount in common, but when we say a reverse Billy Elliot, look, it's like acting that, okay, the male experience as already explored is the norm, and then when we say it's a reverse, that like that's where the female lives. I suppose a big difference in this one is that it's a father-daughter story. In Billy Elliot, it was a father-son story. Mm-hmm. So in a way, at least gender-wise, even though they had very different gender expectations, mm-hmm. they were on the same side of the fence.
Right.
Whereas in this story, Frances and her dad, in early childhood, they were like two peas in a pod, really bonded and loving. And he was able to champion her spirit as a child. Mm-hmm. And it was only when she was, when he got really injured himself, it was injury that caused him to kind of cling on to outmoded, reduced ways of seeing what a girl could be.
Mm-hmm. Hazel, tell us a little bit about how you found out about the film, and then the casting process, the audition, and that whole experience, of course.
Yeah, well, the audition was about 2 years before the actual the start of the production took place. So about 3 years ago now at this stage, Carmel met up with me in a boxing ring. That was our first audition, and it was there were loads of actors that were kind of circling the room playing the dad, and then there were myself and another girl who were there to kind of audition or go through the process of trying to become Frances. And it was just kind of like it wasn't even really an audition, was it? It was kind of just more like a connection. Mm-hmm. And whoever you felt most connected to was the person that you were gonna film with that afternoon, mm-hmm. pretty much. So it was like a really, really natural process, and it was more about the feeling and the relationship between the two people rather than how great you are at acting and how well you can box. So that was what happened 3 years ago now. And then there were a few little bumps in the road, and I had thought that they'd gone a different way with the casting. But they came back to us 2 years later and asked if I would meet up with Carmel. And of course, I was ecstatic to meet up with Carmel. So then we met up, and we've been best friends ever since.
Nice. As the film goes throughout the duration of the film, she gets stronger. Her character obviously gets stronger, and of course, her acting has to be stronger. What kind of advice did Carmel give you in order to, be that person that she wanted you to be at the end of the film? Yeah.
Well, we're gonna laugh at this. She didn't really give me much advice. She kind of just worked with me in a really organic way and kind of gave me free rein to kind of go wherever I wanted with the character, which is an extremely difficult and brave thing to do a 15-year-old girl at the time. So she had a lot of trust in her to give to me, which was really quite new and liberating as an actress. So
I can add to that, like, really, Hazel knew the character every bit as well as me from the moment she was cast. I didn't cast her until I knew that.
Right.
And then I was like, this is going to be an absolute joy. And honestly, she actually brought more and more and more to the role than I could ever have hoped for or dreamt of. Now, and I mean that, people say that, but I would come into filming and some days were so tough. We were a small outfit making really a big film. And I would come on set and Hazel would do something and I go, this is why I'm here, is to witness this performance, witness this talent. And there's something, I believe, incredibly noble in Hazel. And the character Frances is noble, you know, so she rises to the occasion every time. Whatever the extra demand is, she rises to. That's the exact same as you, Hazel, as a person. That's who you are. So I didn't have to advise Hazel. Sometimes you'd ask me things, I would always be available to you to answer something. But most of the time, you knew the answer, and you were just checking it was in line with what I felt.
Nice. In this film, there's a lot of songs that represent, of course, the Irish heritage and culture.
Yeah.
Tell us how that is very important for this film, and then I believe either you or I think Hazel's going to do a little number for us.
Oh, I love that. She didn't know that. She did not know that.
Don't have to. But
well, I think it'd be lovely, but yeah, I think it's really important when an audience give you 2 hours of their time that you bring them joy. So I'm telling them a story that's, you know, a complex story of all we go through as human beings with our families when some of our relationships are in jeopardy and we go through a tough time. So part of my job is to make sure the audience feel a lot of love and feel the light and feel the beauty in the world. And then specifically music in Irish culture and in Irish traveller culture. Irish travellers are an indigenous ethnic minority in Ireland, and singing is a huge part of our culture. It's how we express ourselves when we can't say what we need to say in words. We say it in a song, and it is full of soul. And that's what I wanted to communicate through the songs, was like sometimes Frances and her father or Frances and her granny would be together around the campfire, and really the song would be their attempt to speak from the heart to the heart and say something that they were too shy to say otherwise. And then so there was a mixture. Some of the songs are traditional. I wrote a couple of the songs with Stephen Warbeck. He's an Oscar-winning composer who did this film for the love of it. There's this scene in the film where Hazel is at the lakeside and she was going to be shadowboxing, and I thought, no, she's not in that humour. She would sing a song now, and I was like, I'd been trying to write her a song, Frances's character a song, for 2 years, and I hadn't been able to do it. I just couldn't find a song. And I said to Hazel, I said, have you ever written a song? And Hazel said, well, there's one song, and my dad said, if you sing that and Carmel hears it, she'll put it in the film. And I said, can I hear it now? And 10 minutes later, we filmed Hazel singing the song, and it's definitely one of my most treasured moments in the film, and I know that it is also that for audiences. She wrote this song herself. I had never heard it, and within 10 minutes it was on the screen, and it's now in the film for everyone to enjoy. And there's a possibility you might sing it.
you can sing portions, it doesn't have to be the whole song. Go ahead.
To sing this song a couple of more times than I've ever sung in my life. Pink and yellow fades my view. Warm winds settle, and all I see is crimson glow is you. Dawn's lights crackle, dusk does too. Soon comes battle, and wistful memories are etched in blue. Fond am I of the days I spent watching butterflies and dancing in the firelight. And though there's a teardrop that's falling from my eye, the good old butterfly will teach me to be satisfied. Because this evanescent love must pass us by.
I don't know what to say. That's so beautiful.
It's like a little, it's like a butterfly fluttering around the room.
So I guess you can comment on the Tiff standing behind women and share her journey, and Tiff standing behind women filmmakers and what that actually means to you, and actually being part of this.
I feel it's life-changing for me. These few days at the festival have actually affirmed something so deep in me, and that it means the world. I came here, Michelle Mahou was the programmer who programmed our film, who put her faith in us. And because she programmed the film and my partner was the production designer on it, we decided to get married. We came in on late Thursday night with no luggage and got married Friday morning, and Michelle showed up at the City Hall and was a witness for us.
Yes.
And that's not unrelated to the fact that women were being honoured here at the festival. Because she was honouring us so deeply, I felt like honouring myself and my partner by marrying each other. So on a human level, I'm leaving this festival having, I think, really come of age in my kind of going, I'm here and I love life and I feel loved.
And Hazel, what about yourself? This film actually leading the path for the younger generation of actors and actresses, and how do you feel about that?
Well, I think there are a lot of films that have like young actors, like from 16 or 14 up, and I've seen trailers of them, and I've just been in awe. Like, some of the films look incredible, and some of the young actors in them are outstanding, and you can see that even from the trailers. And like, I think there's definitely more of an emphasis, even just listening to stories that haven't been heard before from the Me Too movement and from Share Our Journey and whatever else. There's more of an emphasis on learning about the younger generation stories as well.
Right, absolutely.
Female stories from those movements. So I'm just really grateful that people have turned, or rather not turned the other cheek and turned their face to the light.
Now, how does it feel for your film to be here at the Toronto International Film Festival?
Well, when I was coming, John Madden, who's a director of films like Shakespeare in Love and Best Exotic Marigold Hotel and that, was talking to me and advising me. And he said, Carmel, he said, you couldn't wish for a better festival in the entire world to show your film. Because he said, your film is all about humanity. And he said, the humanity of the Toronto audience is actually outstanding. He said, what you get is people who come because they love stories, they love human beings, and they have big open hearts. That's exactly what I've experienced. We've had 2 public screenings so far, and the love has lifted us up. I feel so grateful to this festival in every way. There's nothing more I could want. than what has been given and shared and shown to me here. I'm so grateful.
And how does it feel to be here at a festival like this?
Insane. It's more than I could have ever expected. Well, obviously, like I knew Carmel being on this film was going to be a good one. So, I was hoping for this, but like not expecting, obviously. And yeah, just to be in the general vicinity of like the amount of up there actors that I've like idolized my whole life is pretty incredible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with the film
Thank you so
here
much.
at Toronto International Film Festival. Thank you very much for
Thank you so much.
Thank you.